Thanks for joining us. I'm Marlon Bowling with you here on a Wednesday. We're watching your ag trade for you. And on the grain trade, the corn market has been higher and lower today. It has had a hard time deciding which way it wants to go. And on the corn right now, we have that nearby September contract at 340.5. It is within a tick of its low of the day, but you know, the entire trading range from last night and early today, boy, it acts like it's the middle of winter or something. It's only about 3 3/4 cents wide from the high to the low. Just not a lot going on in the corn trade today. Down a half cent as we speak. We have December down 3/4 at 355.5. And checking out our soybean trade right now, we currently have the September 3 1/4 higher at 823 3/4 and November 3 higher at 836 1/4. I did not see any mention this morning of any overnight export sales. So yesterday, of course, we had that news of soybean meal export to Mexico. It was a fairly large round, too, just under 200,000 tons. Nothing today. So everything quiet on that front. Now, if we look at the wheat trade, this is a whole different story this morning. We started out higher overnight, and we carried that through into the daytime trade. September Chicago wheat now about 12 higher. We're up 11 3/4 at 510 per bushel. And in Kansas City wheat, right now you have September 10 3/4 higher at 510. Minneapolis wheat is also higher today. Here you go, September now 6 1/4 higher at 560 3/4. Scott Gecas is with Longleaf Trading in Chicago. He joins us right now. And Scott, looking at the day's trade, you have to give the gold star for the most excitement, I guess, over to the wheat. Any idea on the trading floor there? What is going on with that?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things going on with the wheat market. The Russians and Ukraine are rumored to have restrictions on exports. You know, there's a cargo that was tendered to Egypt for the first time in a very long time, and that was about $30 over the price of Europe. So what that confirms is there's going to be very strong demand with the whole drought and everything going on with the big supply concerns, not enough supply to handle the demand. So there's a big catalyst for a bullish expectation for U.S. wheat, and that was confirmed by that Egypt tender offer. So we're going to stay very bullish above that 540. You can see this morning overnight it traded around 544. It did pull back a little bit, but 540 is a key level where we're looking to get to see a little bit bump up to the higher prices.
So you think they may have run into enough selling for the time being then?
Yeah, I personally do, yes.
Okay, any word on what's going on in Australia? We heard so much talk about drought conditions there.
Yeah, the drought conditions are just rampant worldwide. You know, you have the drought in Russia and Ukraine, rumor of them curbing the exports, as well as you have that big drought in Australia as well. That's limiting the supply. There's still that strong demand. I expect that demand for U.S. wheat to increase in the next few weeks here.
Okay, Scott, we'll come back and take a look at the cattle and hog markets this morning when we come back in just a moment. We're talking with Scott Gecas right now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, and we're talking with Scott Gecas, and he is with Longleaf Trading in Chicago right now. As we look at our livestock trade, we'll look at our live cattle futures first here, Scott, and get your thought on what we're seeing here. On the October live cattle contract, we're 35 cents lower at 108.10. We have the December contract down 55 at 112.05 per hundredweight. And if you look at the feeder cattle trade, feeders, you have the September down 92 at 148.60, October down 90 at 148.52. I wanted to point out, too, that USDA puts out these weekly retail meat counter surveys, and here's the rundown of what we had last week. On the beef side, the average price worked out to be $4.91 a pound compared to $5.12 a pound the previous week, so there was a discount going on. And a year ago, it was $5.25. On the pork side, it was actually $3.30 for the average price last week, when it compared to $2.95 the week before nationwide. So it actually increased significantly. Last year, it was $3.27, so roughly about the same. The poultry market, chicken was we'll call it about 7 cents. No, actually about 9 cents higher than what we had the previous week at 166 a pound. But with that beef price sliding like it is, and you have the lower futures trade, you had a lower wholesale beef trade yesterday afternoon. What does that mean for the future here of this meat market here, or the cattle trade this week?
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic just in the protein complex across the board. So the seasonal demand just in beef alone is much stronger than expected. You had consumer confidence, the highest in over 18 years, which tends to, confirm that stronger demand in beef prices. So with the cattle market being down a little bit, it's an odd dynamic. All the fundamentals across the board in just the protein complex is facing to the bullish side. So we're going to see how this is really going to play out in the next few weeks here.
On the lean hogs, we've been choppy this week. If we look at our lean hog futures right now, you have October down a couple of pennies, but you have December 52 higher. Excuse me, it's at 53.87 right now. About 80 cents off its earlier high of the day, though. We have February 37 higher. So it's kind of easing back a little bit, still firmer, but a lack of conviction the way it seems. What are the traders talking about on the hog trade?
Yeah, the hog trade in particular, you've seen limit up, you've seen close to limit down the other day. But the biggest thing in the hog market that we're watching is the disease out of China. They're running at about 450,000 per month that they have to cull. There's rumors of reports of the disease between farms that are 1,100 miles apart. So it is concerning that the disease is spreading. Yesterday, after the close around 3:15, 3:30 Central Time, there was a report out of Reuters that there was a disease reported in Germany and Europe. If that does spread over to Europe, you're going to see the demand for U.S. pork skyrocket. Plus, you also have the deal with Mexico and the deal that is supposed to be reported on Friday. So we're going to see how that all really plays out.
Thank you, Scott, for the comments today. Good to visit with you as always. Sounds very busy behind you there. Scott Gecas of Longleaf Trading in Chicago.